Financial scams are becoming more and more common, and it's important to know how to protect yourself and your money. In this video, I will be discussing some common financial scams to watch out for and how to avoid falling into their traps. But just quickly, welcome back to my channel. My name is Reece, and nope, that's pretty much it. Let's talk scams. Number one on today's list is the famous old phishing scam. Phishing scams are one of the most common scams that we face on a day-to-day basis throughout our lives. Supposed criminals send you fake emails or text messages pretending to be from a legitimate company where they ask for your personal information so they can then take that and then go and use it in a harmful way. This is a well-proven tactic used by scammers, and just as a little bit of a fun fact, in Australia alone during 2022, we lost almost $2 billion to this type of scam alone. Now, obviously, it's important to be cautious when providing your personal information online, as well as verifying your identity to the person at the other end of a phone call potentially who are requesting it. It really is surprising that even now in 2023, phishing scams persist and people still fall victim to these types of scams every single day, especially the older generations, which kind of makes sense because they didn't grow up learning about this in school and education where it's now taught. Even I myself find that I am reminding people quite often that they need to be cautious and careful when receiving unsolicited emails and text messages requesting them to click links or to provide personal information. It even surprises me how often I need to do this, where unfortunately some are still very easily misled. And I guess it kind of highlights how it's both important and worthwhile mentioning this type of scam, especially when discussing financial topics like the topics that I discuss on my channel on a regular basis. It does raise awareness, and it also serves as a gentle reminder for future run-ins where someone may think twice before falling victim to one of these types of scams. Investment scams are another common financial scam where predators try to convince you to invest money in opportunities that are pretty much fraudulent. For those who have toughed it through a few cycles now of the cryptocurrency market, the term pump and dump will probably seem all too familiar. Unfortunately, even I have fallen victim to the hype being generated surrounding these types of Ponzi schemes. I've actually made a lot of videos on the channel discussing these types of scams and my experience and thoughts about what would eventually happen to them, and lo and behold, I'm a bit of a psychic because I guessed exactly where they were going. If you're interested in watching those videos, I've linked them down in the description below. I think that some of them, definitely looking back now with hindsight, I was pretty spot on, and others kind of were looking through rose-tinted glasses, especially people I knew who invested in them and actually lost a lot of money, basically playing with fire. Ultimately, for this one here, the golden rule with investment scams is pretty simple. If it seems like a too good of an opportunity, it probably is. It really is important to approach any type of investment opportunity with caution, as well as do some research further than watching a YouTuber, for example, talk about a very specific product and why you should potentially invest in it. They generally will have an agenda. It's why I don't promote individual products on this channel whatsoever. I'm not interested in doing that. I like talking about topics from a high level and then let you, the person who's going to be making that decision, go away and make informed decisions based on your own research. The whole point here is understand the risks involved, understand the opportunities involved, and then make a decision based on the research that you've done around it. Next on the list is identity theft, which might not seem like a financial one in particular. However, it definitely ties into them, especially considering it can be an absolute nightmare if you don't address it soon after it occurs. Identity theft generally is the type of scam where your personal information is stolen and then misused for financial gain. Often these types of scams will see a scammer open up something like a credit card, potentially take out a loan in your name or make purchases using your financial information. Now, there definitely are lots of measures in place to help you avoid falling into the traps of these types of scams. However, if you don't get onto it quickly soon after it happens, it can be quite painful and potentially challenging as well to recover any lost funds. This really does highlight the importance of monitoring your financial accounts regularly, and it's something that's almost a talking point on the channel quite often. It's something that I advocate very highly for because having visibility of how your money is coming in, going out of your accounts, it should give you the scope and understanding of how to make sure nothing is going on in the background that you may not be noticing. Realistically, to protect yourself from identity theft, the same rules for general good practice goes. You should really be careful about who you present your personal information to, as well as you should use strong passwords and potentially even two-factor authentication when doing things online, It's just good practice in general. And finally, to round out my list for today is the topic of contest or giveaway scams. Also referred to as sweepstakes scams are the type of schemes that promise the reward of a big prize in exchange for a small upfront payment or potentially even your own personal data. These scams often come through different types of channels such as emails, text messages, phone calls, and even hard mail letter at times, where they generally claim that you've won some large sum of money, potentially a trip somewhere, or a prize that is something that you really want but would be well out of your purchasing order. Let's say, I don't know, a Rolex, just to name one in particular. To claim this supposed prize, the scammers will generally request a payment to cover things like taxes, potentially shipping costs, or even processing costs, or they may just skip that and go straight to mining your personal data. These types of scams are way more common than you may think, and they're often seen in various forms. Think of any type of raffle that you may enter when you're at a shop and you have a little slip to fill out where you give your personal information to enter that competition, where the entrant's personal data is now sitting in a box, and whoever comes and collects it has access to information about you that they can go away and potentially use for fraudulent activities depending on what they specifically asked for. It really is important to be mindful that even in legitimate sweepstake or raffle style giveaways or contests, you're still handing over personal information. Be very, very careful with what you hand over, because the second you hand it over, it's in someone else's hands and available to use at their own leisure realistically. Even though technically it might seem contradictory coming from someone who posts regularly to this platform as well as other social media forums online and presents a lot of his own personal information. I have some thinking to do. I'll be right back. Anyway, if you ever do find yourself in the situation where you think you may have actually won a prize, whether it be something physical or a large sum of money or any sum of money, realistically, it's probably a good idea to independently verify the authenticity of that claim. If I ever receive a phone call from someone saying that you've won a certain amount of money or a prize, anything like that, I generally hang up straight away, go to their website, call them directly through their verified line, and then that interaction can take place, and I'd be more than happy to share some personal information if it meant that what they say is true and that I'm actually going to be taking home a prize from some type of competition that I've entered. Overall, for today's video, the unfortunate truth is that these scams can be incredibly profitable, and that's why they A, exist, and B, continue to persist. I've said it throughout the video many times, and I'm going to say it one more time to end today's video. It really is important to educate yourself on these types of scams and to understand the best ways to go about handling them and how to avoid falling victim to them. It's something that definitely will be worthwhile understanding, putting your time into, and getting right, so then you don't have to deal with the hurt from the outcome of you falling victim to one of them. That is everything I wanted to cover today. It was a bit of a unique video, something different for the channel, but something that I wanted to do a little bit of research myself into, and I learned a lot from just going through and writing a script. So if you gained any insight from it whatsoever, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below. You have no idea how much it helps the channel grow, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to quickly do that. And with that being said, I don't have a lot more to talk about. So have a good day, have a good week, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.